Thank you, Father. Last but not least is Danny McDonough. Danny is a senior in the School of Foreign Service from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin. While pursuing a degree in international economics, he has served as an associate member of the Lecture Fund, an orientation advisor for New Student Orientation, a member service representative at the Georgetown Credit Union, and a GAAP board member. This weekend marks the end of his 2-year tenure as GAP's vice president. This summer, he will be moving to New York City, where he will join the investment banking division at Credit Suisse. Danny has asked me to remind those of you who didn't notice his significantly more attractive appearance that he is indeed a different person than his identical twin brother, Matt, whom you heard speak at the welcome session this morning. It has been an honor to work with Danny on the GAAP exec for the past 2 years. Please welcome Danny McDonough.
Accepted students, parents, and families, welcome once again to Georgetown University, and welcome back to Gaston Hall. Upon learning that I would have this opportunity to speak to you this afternoon, that I would have the chance to make one more memory in this historic room, my heart began to race with the idea that I would speak from this podium, where the likes of Tony Blair, Bradley Cooper, Bono, Paul Ryan, and the Clintons have shared their knowledge, visions, and encouragement during my 4 years on this campus. Now, full disclosure, because I wouldn't want to disappoint you today, I'm not as knowledgeable as the Clintons, I'm not as cool as Bono, and though I am more attractive than my twin brother, I'm not as good looking as Bradley Cooper. What I can say, however, that perhaps these illustrious figures could not when they were in this position, is that I am truly humbled to speak to the audience in front of me. You students are the most accomplished of your generation, and you parents have succeeded in converting talent, intellect, and ambition into contribution and impact. I think I speak for most of us when I say that I've never been in the presence of so many valedictorians, state champions, concert musicians, and emerging leaders. So, what can I, a mere senior in college, offer a group with such accomplished pasts and promising futures? Well, fortunately, my intention this afternoon is not so much to dwell on my Georgetown experience, but rather to use my experience to give you a glimpse of how 4 years at Georgetown will challenge, shape, and grow your knowledge, your beliefs, and your dreams. There are so many memories I could choose to try to help you understand exactly what this place will mean to you. So many dynamic lectures, leadership opportunities with student groups, nights out in DC, and of course, basketball games at the Verizon Center. But like I said, our time together this afternoon is about you and your critical decision that is merely days away. So if you'll let me, I'd like to forego these quintessential Georgetown moments for a minute and instead bring you back to a typical lecture for an introductory course that I took in the first semester of my freshman year. The class was International Relations, and my professor was teaching the basic yet critical concept of the differences between a state and a nation. A state, he said, is nothing more than the territory defined by a set of political borders and the rules and regulations that govern this territory. More broadly, a state is an institution without sentiment or passion. Then he paused for a minute and said, "This sentiment and passion that a state lacks are precisely what define a nation. For a nation is a group of individuals bonded by something that transcends lines on a map and laws on a document. A nation's members believe so deeply in their community that their own interests and those of their nation often become one." Now, typical of a Georgetown freshman, my immediate thoughts on that day in that classroom were dedicated to how my professor might test this concept on a final exam, or how I might work it into a research paper. I never would have guessed that this simple lesson would frame the course of my college career. I wouldn't have guessed that this university, which seemed like a foreign state at the time, would transform into a nation of students, alumni, and professors who share a bond that will never be broken. I tell you this because all of you, if only for this weekend, have already come together to form your own sort of state. You have occupied this beautiful campus and allowed a group of undergraduates to show you some of the aspects of this university that might help inform your college decision. The professors, the residence halls, clubs, student life, and the surrounding area. But for you to really grasp what this place is all about, to truly understand the potential that this school holds for you, I'm going to have to ask you to let go of what is for the moment and imagine what might be. Imagine, for example, that those professors you met earlier today would become mentors for life, that they would care not only about your research papers, midterms, and finals, but about your development as a human being, and that they would demand that you take your learning beyond the classroom and use it to address the problems plaguing our nation and our world. Imagine that those freshman residence halls would quickly transform from a room for you to decorate and a bed for you to sleep in to a forum for you to debate topics that you never thought you would discuss with your peers. That you'd stay up late talking about politics, religion, and literature with students who possess entirely different backgrounds but extraordinary competence and conviction. Imagine that this university would trust you so much it would give you the opportunity to run a $17 million credit union, a $5 million business, and an EMT service between your classes. And that you would grow so much from these opportunities that when the time came to talk about Georgetown to prospective students or teach incoming freshmen about life on the hilltop, Georgetown would entrust you with these opportunities as well. Imagine that the upperclassmen you'll meet will welcome you into their social circles the moment you arrive on campus. That they'll put their own lives on hold to tell you which classes to take and where to live, tutor you when you struggle in a class, and stay up all night preparing you for your interview on Wall Street, for no other reason than a group of Georgetown upperclassmen did the same for them. And imagine that those students sitting next to you right now, your future classmates, will bring out your very best intellectually, socially, and spiritually, not through competition or rivalry, but through a collaborative pursuit of excellence. All these developments that lie ahead of you are exactly what I've experienced throughout these past 4 years. These experiences that are so unique to this university are what bond this nation of Hoyas for life. I've often heard people talk about a sort of magic surrounding Georgetown, an energy, a buzz that fills its campus. And perhaps this is the result of what I've alluded to throughout this speech. Much like musicians in a symphony or players on a team, members of the Georgetown community channel their passions and ability into something greater than themselves. Only, in this case, the end goal is more profound than playing a successful concert or winning a game. For Georgetown, the goal is to challenge one another to become better men and women for others, and in turn, to leave the world in a better place. So I'd like to think, on second thought, that the Clintons, Bono, and even Bradley Cooper were indeed humbled and honored to speak to a nation of Hoyas in this hall. Not because of any one person's achievements or accolades, but because of the often tangible and sometimes overwhelming feeling that results from an entire community striving for something that transcends personal gain and individual desire. If, by the end of this weekend, you experience this feeling, if you start to feel this campus come alive with the nation of Hoyas awaiting you, then I think you found your home for the next 4 years. Thank you, and Hoya Saxa.